welcome back to Astrovision, Spirituality, and Tarot. So as you guys could tell from the title of today's video, we're going to be going over Megan Thee Stallion's birth chart. But before we do that, definitely feel free to give this video a like. Also subscribe if you're a new viewer just so happening to come across my channel, and feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel after you finish this one. Also, I have to let you guys know that this is speculation, this is entertainment, so don't take any of this stuff too seriously, don't take it too hard or too literally, even though astrology is a science and it can be literal in some aspects. So for starters, Megan Thee Stallion is born February 15th, 1995 in San Antonio, Texas. She has a Taurus ascendant, trining her Venus, sextiling Saturn, and it's opposing her North Node, and she has a North Node in Scorpio. So with her having a Taurus ascendant, Taurus ascendants, they often come off a little heavier, they like to eat, but they also come off naturally pretty. They're ruled by Venus, just like Libra, but Taurus, since they have that element of earth, they tend to be naturally beautiful. They're easier on the eye, so with her having this Taurus ascendant, less is definitely more. Libras would prefer to amplify their beauty. I have noticed that she loves to wear makeup and things like that, but I do feel like when she's stripped back and she's more natural, that's when you really can see her beauty shine through. She also has Lilith sitting in this house, and Lilith can produce, an intense, influential person. This really can produce someone radiating independence, but through like taboo ways. So through conflict, through having extreme ideologies, through being controversial, because Lilith has to deal with shame in general and that shadow side of yourself that really wants to rebel from that feeling of guilt and shame. So Lilith can just bring those tendencies of really wanting to act out, be wild, and be rebellious. And she's known as the hot girl. Her Lilith is in Gemini, so this can point to her being bi-curious or just being gender fluid. Gemini does represent both sides of the brain, but this also does point to her being a rapper. A lot of rappers do have Gemini energy in their chart, and with that Lilith being a Gemini, that definitely can represent her being this hot girl rapper that's very unapologetic about her approach to her promiscuity, her sexuality. So she definitely has that, on the belt of her chart. It's something that she is displaying before you even get to know her. She's a very promiscuous person, overly promiscuous. And with Lilith being here, it just intensifies how people view her. They're definitely going to view Megan Thee Stallion as being selfish, being arrogant, her having this mindset, kind of like stepping on bugs, like to get to the top, because Lilith is all about that. Lilith is all about not having to feel that shame, not having to feel that guilt. So these people, they can be very, rebellious when they're younger and act out when they're younger, but when they're older, they sit there and reminisce, and they have a lot of stories to tell their grandbabies. They're definitely like a good person to go and talk to when you're like wrapped into some shit. And she's definitely a good person to talk to, probably later in life when you're wrapped into some shit. And we're going to talk about that. She can be a succubus. I don't know. If you watch Jennifer's Body, then you know that terminology. Basically, Jennifer's Body, whatever she was, that demonized woman, she has the potential to chew men alive and spit them out. Like, she literally can do that, especially because she has her Venus trining her ascendant. So men, they love her. They love her body, men and women, I'm not discriminating. So Lilith being in her first house definitely, charges her up with some intense energy, just really standing out, being a wild card. And then with her North Node being in Scorpio, that's in the 6th house, and it's also opposing her ascendant. See, this can, create some conflicts, especially when it comes to work. So with her having a Scorpio North Node, but it's conflicting her first house, it's conflicting her ascendant, this can point to her being viewed as a promiscuous and magnetic person at work. That's because, Scorpio does deal with sex, it deals with the taboos, but it's also ruled by Mars. So these people do have a magnetic, alluring sexual presence that they're really projecting out here. So with this opposing her ascendant, it's something that she can't control, that she's just broadcasting out there. Especially with Lilith being there, she's definitely broadcasting that sexual energy. And then She could be viewed as someone who has a lot of power, a lot of willpower to get things done, to make things function properly at work and be super impactful because it's Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto as well. So these people can be powerful, you know, they do have that tendency to transform. Or she could be surrounded by people that are doing this and it changes her perception, it changes her viewpoints because the first house has to deal with your perception on things. It deals with, you know, what you're broadcasting out there uncontrollably or controllably, and it also deals with how things appear. How things appear around her could just be very scorpionic. She could be surrounded around a lot of Plutonian people, and with that she picks up a lot of these Plutonian traits, which makes sense because it's her north node. And our north node are the traits that we're trying to incorporate into our lives. They're the traits that we're trying to work with. They're the traits that haven't really ripened yet. But again, with her having a Scorpio North Node, she can be destructive and viewed as destructive. She could be viewed as mysterious or intense. These are people who have intense and destructive daily habits, you know, that are very transformative. That signifies her being known as an alcoholic or having an alcohol addiction, which does go in the realm of Scorpio. That goes in the realm of Pisces, those water signs in general, that can really deal with addiction and her having an alcohol addiction. And since it is opposing her ascendant, it's just something uncontrollably that she really can't hide. And with Scorpio North Nodes, it's either a love or hate situation. You're either going to like them or you're going to hate them. You know, they're either going to be the victim or they're going to be the abuser. It's no gray area with Scorpio. You know, it's black or white. And that's just how they like it. The rumors could be true about her sacrificing her mom and sacrificing her grandma. That could be true because Scorpio does play a role in that. Megan Thee Stallion has her sun in the 10th house, opposing her Leo moon, also opposing her Mars, which is in Leo as well. If you know anything about astrology, this is just masculine energy, full on masculine energy. Aquarius, that's a masculine sign. The 10th house, you know, that rules over Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. That is masculine energy in itself. And then Leo is masculine energy. Mars and Leo, that's double masculine energy. So with her having this going on just with her son, this just points to someone who has the tendency to be narcissistic, just because, you know, with all of that masculine energy, she can just be seen as a cold-hearted person, especially because Aquarius is, you know, a cold-hearted sign. The element of Aquarius is air, but more so that electric air. Very shocking. You know, Aquarius is all about those shocking truths. So these people kind of lack emotions. And then you got Capricorn, okay? Her sun is in the 10th house. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn, these people don't got no feelings. Having her sun in the 10th house, I can see her coming off as very unapologetic, not really caring about her emotions or even other people's emotions. And then when you have your sun in the 10th house, you're focused on how other people are going to perceive you. So you're always going to be making sure that your reputation is solid. Capricorn does deal with a solid structure. It deals with the foundation. So these people are going to make sure that every time they go out, their reputation is going to be reputable. People are going to like them. People are going to want to speak to them. With her moon being in Leo, being in a masculine position, she definitely isn't going to be a super feminine girl that's just going to sit down and cry if a man told her she was ugly or told her she needed to lose weight or anything like that. She's going to kind of act like a man and use that as passion, use that as aggression, and kind of use that to fuel herself up to be more confident and be more powerful. So she does have those tendencies to be arrogant because Aquarius is a fixed sign. That energy of Leo is very fixed itself. So, and then her sun being placed in the 10th house, she's just definitely going to broadcast this I'm not going to change, this is who I am and you're going to accept it type of attitude to everyone around her. And it's how she's going to be known. Kind of like an Amazonian woman, which she does represent because she is tall. And with that sun-moon opposition, she could have a hard time getting along with other women and tapping into her womanhood just because she has so much masculine energy going on. She could have issues expressing her femininity to other women or even to men. You know what I'm saying? She could be a little rough with her men, like to play fight, like to wrestle and do things like that. So she definitely can have issues when it comes to her femininity, and that, plays a role in her being so promiscuous, only knowing how to really rap about sex and only know how to talk about sex, because that is a topic that men, tend to always speak about. And with women, talk about your hair, you can talk about your makeup, you can talk about your shoes, you can talk about your clothes. But with her, she tends to, revolve a lot of her songs around sex. She definitely has a lot of that masculine and arrogant energy going on, and she's broadcasting that forward. And she could just be seen as a cocky person. Also, with that Sun-Mars opposition, this can cause for her to overreact to situations, probably react quicker than she can speak or think. So hitting somebody or putting her hands on somebody, before she can say something, before she can even think, that can be a possibility, and that can play out because she's an Aquarius. And Aquariuses, they're very quick, they're unpredictable, they're ruled by air, but it's that quick, lightning sharp striking air, you know what I'm saying? So these people, having that Sun and Mars opposition, sometimes she's not in control of her thoughts or her body sometimes, and she just quickly reacts. She definitely has to be careful of that, and she probably has had a lot of lessons in that department. Her Sun is in the 10th house, and Capricorn does deal with lessons, and it deals with those hard lessons. So she can have some lessons learned about putting her hands on people or other people putting their hands on her. She can just be very unpredictable and dramatic when it comes to that, and also attention seeking. Her having these oppositions in her chart, they definitely can be risky if she doesn't get no spiritual advisement from someone, because she definitely can play around with like the wrong man, and he will definitely take it there with her. And I'm not gonna say, she won't take it there either, because she has the capability to knock a man flat out on his chest. But she just needs to be careful, because at the end of the day, when you're a woman and you try to act like a man, some men will challenge you on that. They really will. And with what she's going through, she don't deserve any of that. I'm not saying she does, but with what she's going through, or what she has gone through with her situation involving Tory Lanez, that energy can definitely play out with some unpredictable events involving violence and authority having to come into the mix, and it being blown up, it being broadcasted. She definitely just has to be very careful when it comes to her temper and her emotions, because she could be a flight risk, she could be a wild card, and you just don't know how things are going to go when she gets mad or when something triggers her. Now, with her being a Leo moon, a lot of Leo moons have entertaining moms, or maybe your mom is a Leo. For example, I'm a Pisces moon, but my moon falls in the 5th house, and my mom is a Leo. And a lot of people who have Leo moons tend to have very dramatic mothers. Your mom's just very dramatic. It is what it is. Every little thing, she stubs her toe, it's going to be a big situation. It just is what it is. And your mom can be involved in the arts. And this definitely plays a role in Megan's chart, with her mom also being a rap artist and being an entertainer as well. She also has Chiron sitting in her 5th house as well, and her Chiron is in Virgo. And this can play out with, her feeling like her mom didn't pay attention to her, or maybe her mom wanted her to be perfect, probably played that momager role a little too hard, was a little too much, a little too involved, and maybe Megan couldn't function properly. Maybe her growth was stunned by her mom being too involved or overly invested in the situation surrounding entertainment and wanting to be a star or trying to make her child a star. But this also can just play a role with her, feeling like her mom didn't really pay that much attention to her. Her mom always on the road or focused on her entertainment career and things like that. So having Chiron sitting in her 5th house, but having that Chiron in Virgo, she's just going to have issues with feeling perfect, especially pertaining to, her job, but more so her emotions. So she may have a hard time, expressing her femininity again, and she may feel imperfect because of that. Virgo does deal with our perfections. It does deal with being perfect in general and being grounded and also being very critical and analytical. And so when it comes to her emotions, even performing, because the fifth house does deal with performing, she may have a difficult time in rehearsals, laying down the routine, getting those things situated, and then going out on stage and executing it and performing it, especially with Chiron being there. But again, back to her having this Leo moon, this can equate to her being a bully. This can just, play out with her needing to get attention by way of expressing her emotions. Now, I have a Pisces moon in the fifth house. My moon's in the fifth house. I definitely understand I'm very dramatic when it comes to my emotions. But with Leo moons, sometimes it just doesn't come off as genuine, especially because she's an Aquarius and they're very cold-hearted, and her sign of Aquarius, is literally in the 10th house of Capricorn. So her showing any type of emotions is going to come off fake. It's not going to come off as genuine, especially with her having all of that masculine energy. So I'm pretty sure her mother have told her, like, what are you crying for? You don't never cry around me. Why are you crying in front of these people? Why are you causing a scene? I could see her mom saying something like that to her. Any times that she have cried or let her guard down on her mom, I could see her mom being like, you need to toughen up. I don't play that. That Leo moon energy is still masculine energy. You can't forget it. And it's in the fifth house. And her mom is an entertainer. Her mom was focused on her career. And her mom was a rapper. So you got to imagine, her mom was probably a tough chick. So this definitely can, determine her having a heartless heart as well and being very emotionless. This can play out with her being a bully and even being dramatic, over exaggerating things and even being unpredictable about the things that she's going to share when it comes to her emotions, just so she can get that attention. Leo moons, they need that attention. It's something that satisfies them and makes them feel comfortable. A lot of Leo moons, they tend to have a background in entertainment, in Broadway, in something where they're able to express how they're feeling. And Leo moons do have that tendency to typically be the leaders of their friendship group. And if they're not the leader of their friend group, then they put themselves in the position to get the most attention. Therefore, it places them to be the leader of the friend group. So, Leo moons, they know how to work their way around the circus and get the most attention. They know how to steal the light when they walk into a room. And I believe she really can identify with this because her Leo moon is fully charged, She has Leo moon placed in the fifth house of Leo. So it's fully charged, It does have some conflicts going on with it having Chiron sit here as well. I wouldn't put it past Megan Thee Stallion for sleeping with her best friend's man or sleeping with Tori when he was with her best friend. I don't put it past her because that's something Leo moons can do to stir the pot. It's something they can do to get attention. They love that reactionary thing going on. They love that pull and push. That give and take, but they're really not giving you anything. They're just taking your fucking attention. So that's something that these Leo moons can do. I don't put it past her, especially with her being an Aquarius sun. These are the type of people that are not apologetic, so she's not going to sincerely apologize. Even if she did apologize, it's just not going to be a genuine one because Aquarius and Leo, these are fixed signs. So she's not willing to compromise, and it's going to be difficult to persuade someone who has a lot of fixed energy in their chart. It's going to be difficult to try to persuade them to compromise, to try to persuade them to be agreeable. They're going to be so disagreeable. With her just having that energy alone, I can see, her friend having a headache just dealing with her. And then her moon is squaring Pluto. So this just plays a role with her being promiscuous again, having a need to act out on stage her promiscuity and be sexual, having to share that as a way of being entertainment for her fans and for the crowd and things like that. So her getting attention for her promiscuity is something that she possibly, enjoys, but it also can backfire because it's squaring that Pluto. And this can equate to, her being violent, her friends and things like that. Fifth house does deal with friends. It deals with performance, entertainment. It also deals with casual partners, our guilty pleasures. Pluto squaring her Leo moon in that fifth house. This can equate to her being violent. You know what I'm saying? And having intense emotions. But this does also point to, her losing her mom, Pluto does deal with death. It does deal with transformation. The moon, it deals with your mom in general. So with her having this Pluto square her moon, this can just really determine that situation that took place with her mom passing away. And, you know, because Pluto deals with death, things being taken from you. And I don't put it past her for being just this bratty ass bully, this Regina George type character that it's very fitting for someone like a Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know. All I would say, Megan Thee Stallion, Regina George is very fucking fitting for you, girl, because you're giving that energy full-fledged, heartedly. Like, you're putting it out there on the surface for everyone to just eat it up. That's what you want to broadcast out here. And Regina George is a nasty-ass bitch. You must have not seen the end of the movie when she got hit by that bus. And that was something that bitch deserved. So we're going to keep going through her chart because there's some interesting things, especially when we jump back on her North Node and we go to her 11th house, that I want you guys to really pay attention to, because it's controversial about her case with Tory Lanez, and wherever you stand on the side of the fence when it comes to that, I am just an observer. So you motherfuckers can stay around for the rodeo, but me, I've been kicked rocks, I've been checked out, because when she started lying from the get-go, that's when, and me being a Sagittarius, I guess she's Aquarius, and they say Aquariuses and Sagittarius mix well, but Aquariuses, they're about that shocking truth. They're about that TMZ type life, bitch. I'm not chasing no quick story. I'm chasing the truth. So, you know, Sagittariuses, we're real life truth seekers, you know what I'm saying? And we don't just do shit for attention. We don't just do shit just to be unique. We real life be searching for the truth. And when Megan Thee Stallion started lying, I just really saw through a lot of the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's what made me jump to Tory's defense, even though I still was in the middle. So Megan has Venus, Uranus, Neptune in Capricorn, and it's all in her 9th house. With Uranus and Neptune being in the 9th house, but in Capricorn, it can produce a stubborn and irrational person. Someone who likes, you know, to go their own way, to go with the flow of things. They don't really like being told what to do. They don't like being controlled because they like to be in control. So, especially with the 9th house ruling over religion, philosophy, and world travel, things like that, different cultures, this is someone who doesn't want to be forced into that. You know, they want to dip their toes into it when they want to do it. And if they fully want to, you know, try out a different flavor, then they'll do it. They don't want to be forced to, you know, eat at a pizza restaurant if there's other options at a buffet that's across the street. You know, this isn't that type of person. You know, you don't just bring them to an Italian restaurant and not tell them first because maybe they don't want to eat pasta that day. So she definitely likes to get her way, you know, can be irrational at times because having that Neptune in Capricorn, that can just throw off your rational abilities, but that spiritual discernment can be strong. You know, it can be strong, especially with it being in the 9th house. But she can just have a difficult time adjusting to religion and spirituality. Her knowledge could be unpredictable about those matters. It could be restricted in some areas, causing her to fantasize about things that she may not know about but possibly want to learn about. So she may go through writer's block and things like that, and that's where I could see her needing a ghostwriter and that really having to take play here, because she could get burnt out really quickly. These people can make up things out of thin air. You know, they make great writers, but they can also make up things out of thin air. So these people can literally make up bullshit and just go with the flow because it's Neptune. And Neptune rules Pisces, which is deceptive, and it's a mutable sign. And the 9th house rules Sagittarius, which is also a mutable sign. And with the mutable signs, they're able to adapt and, you know, go with the flow. They're able to change. But Pisces, that can make her a liar. That can make her disingenuous. And Capricorn represents, you know, the reputation. So she can be known as a disingenuous person, as someone who talks about things that they act like they know, but they really don't know about those things. They're just fantasizing. They're just dreaming. And also, Capricorn does rule the father, and this can represent her father dying or passing away unpredictably because Uranus is here. So she can feel like a victim because, you know, Neptune is here. So she can feel like a victim because her father was taken away from her at an early age. And I couldn't really find how her dad died. I couldn't find how he passed away. But allegedly it happened when she was 15. And currently I do believe she's 26 or 27. So over a decade ago, she did lose her father. This also can play out with, her having daddy issues because she does have that Venus in Capricorn too. So she can date men that are much older than her. And with it being in the ninth house, that can really exaggerate their age. So they really can be older. You know what I'm saying? Like way older than probably what her dad would be if he was alive. But she also can learn from these men too. She also can learn a lot from the men that she dates because she has that Venus in Capricorn, but it's in the ninth house. And they're going to be willing to teach her and kind of be a spiritual advisor for her. You know what I'm saying? Especially if she's off track. So if she uses this ninth house stellium energy that she has to walk in the light and incorporate positivity in this house, I feel like she can find her a good man, like a good, grounded man that is going to be a protector for her, because she did lose both of her parents. And I'm just sensing from reading over her chart with her having this Venus in Capricorn, but it's in the ninth, she can have some daddy issues. And she has Neptune there, and Neptune does deal with separation. It deals with disasters, and that Neptune being in Capricorn, that's someone who lacks practicality, and this is in the ninth house. So she can lack just common sense about some shit. She can lack just how to fucking tie her shoe right. You know what I'm saying? She probably still tie it the way you were taught when it was easy back in preschool. She probably didn't learn how to tie it like the regular way that adults tie it. She probably still do like the bunny ears and shit like that. This is somebody who needs an extra hand. Not saying she rode on the short bus or anything like that, because she has displayed her knowledge, especially with her wanting to finish school. She has finished school. So her friend has said that she did her work for her. So I don't know how many brain cells this girl got. She lacks some practicality, okay, from her chart. This Neptune being in Capricorn and it's in the ninth house, she lacks just some common sense. She needs to find it. Okay, back to her Scorpio North Node though. With this Scorpio North Node sitting in the sixth house, she can be fulfilling her natal purpose, but I just think she's not. I think she's not. I think she's operating from that South Node position. We're going to talk about that in a second. But with her Scorpio North Node being in the sixth house, a lot of Scorpio North Nodes have a lot of death and traumatic experiences surrounding them. So whether they're the victim or whether they're the abuser, it's supposed to happen that way because from previous karmic debts that they didn't fulfill or just never made it around to. So in this life, you have to pay back some of those karmic debts. And with Megan having a Scorpio North Node in the sixth house, she's learning how to value collaboration with others and create routines that can be impactful or transformative in the workplace. At the same time, this can be disastrous and this can be destructive because if you know anything about Megan Thee Stallion, then you would know she has a battle with her label with 1501 Entertainment, and Carl Crawford was the person who owns the label, who gave her her start for real. He's the one who really put her in front of our eyes. Regardless of what she says, he's the one who really put that money in her pockets for her to market herself. Her even going through the battle with him, that's very Scorpionic, and it's in the sixth house, that's dealing with work. Her having issues with Asian Doll, that's another rapper who just so happens to be in her industry, so they work together. Nicki Minaj, working in that industry. And even if she didn't collaborate with these people, they still work in the same space. They're still sharing the same connections, still probably sharing the same set. So they're going to cross paths eventually. And with her having this Scorpio North Node, she's a very transformative person, very impactful. You know what I'm saying? Very influential. And she definitely is oozing a lot of, promiscuity and sexuality. She shares that and puts that on the table in her workforce as well because she's an entertainer. Her North Node can also indicate her being shot as well because Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars. Mars does deal with the weapons, the weaponry, and things like that. And Scorpio can deal with enemies. It can deal with blatant enemies. So her having a Scorpio North Node in the sixth house, she literally can be attacked or be provoked or antagonized by an enemy or be a victim of some weaponry or something like that because she does have that Scorpio North Node and it's in her sixth house. This also does play a role in her daily routines. Again, so with her being an alcoholic or getting involved in any Scorpionic things pertaining to like paraphernalia, drugs, and all of that stuff, she definitely has a potential to fall under that spectrum with her having the Scorpio North Node, and it's in the 6th house. And just Hollywood in general, they run in those circles. Those people, they're surrounded by that stuff. They have easy access to it. And I'm going to tell you guys why I feel like, she's not operating from her North Node purpose at all. Because even though Scorpio is very dark, they do have a light side. And she's been operating from this victimhood mindset since her career got started. And her South Node really signifies that, like literally. Her South Node is in Taurus, but it's in the 12th house, which rules over Pisces. So naturally, she's going to be carrying over some of that victimhood complex with her. She's going to be carrying over some of that energy because Pisces individuals tend to be the targets of abuse. The sign Pisces in general is ruled by Neptune, and that planet can produce abuse. It can produce some tragedies, things that aren't really seen. She definitely is operating from that mindset of being a victim and wanting to be pampered and catered to. But every time that you use and operate from your South Node natal energy, it just doesn't work. Sometimes that karma will strike your ass back, and I feel like it is striking her like every time. There has been, instances where she has transformed from all of this because she does have that Scorpio North Node. So she can turn her pain into gain and make it work. But if you're hurting other people in the process, that's not something good. You're still going to get karma from that pain that you're inflicting on other people. And Pisces individuals can be very deceptive. They can be very manipulative. Same thing with Scorpio. So she has to find a good balance between both of these energies, because with it being in Taurus, her having a Taurus North Node, she's very stagnant. She's very comfortable in her comfort zone. Taurus represents that. So in her past life, she was probably a socialite already, you know what I'm saying? But just in this lifetime, how she went about getting the success and getting the notoriety, she went about it in a way where she overused traits from her South Node that are kind of conflicting with her natal North Node purpose. And Scorpio and Taurus, these are both fixed signs. So you just have to imagine trying to find that balance is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. And especially with her having her Mercury square her North Node, she's just going to be a liar. I don't trust Megan Thee Stallion. I really don't. You're a liar. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I don't trust Scorpios as far as you could throw them. And Megan Thee Stallion is tall as hell, and I don't know how much she weigh, but I don't trust no Scorpios. I really don't. I don't. And it's because I have strong Taurus energy within my chart, and that's why I don't mess with Scorpios at all. I just can't mess around with y'all because I know how y'all get down. I know the outcome that Scorpios are likely to give, and just don't dip your feet too deep in that water because, these little lake monsters will pull your ass down and laugh while your ass is drowning. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mess with Scorpios. And she got a decent amount of Plutonian energy operating throughout her chart. I also feel that when her mom passed, that did transform her career because I do believe her mom was her ghostwriter. Because with that Chiron being in Virgo, her mom could have played a role in the functionality of Megan Thee Stallion having this perfect persona, being broadcasted out to us. Because she did just come off a little too polished at first. She just had it in the bag. Her storyline was very good, and then after her mom got out the picture, things just started to waver in the mirror. The mirror started to get a little foggy, it started to get a little deceptive, and things started to become clear. You're a liar, you know what I'm saying? So if Megan Thee Stallion stopped lying and was to operate from her North Node purpose and was to actually, do what she wanted to go to school, to do and help change people's lives, because she could do that through the music, from talking about what she's been through, talking about losing her dad when she was younger, talking about losing her mom, how that made her feel, you know what I'm saying, being shot, how that made her feel. Everything doesn't have to be about your body, your promiscuity, and your sexuality, or your money and your material items and the things that you can gain via your connections. Everything doesn't have to be about that. And I really do believe that she is someone who can go out there and easily get spiritual advisement, but since she has heavy masculine energy dispersed through her chart, she's just going to be, and it's fixed energy, she's going to be someone who's just gonna have a really hard head. And she has that Lilith in the first house, so a lot of her lessons aren't the best to reenact, but they do make great entertainment. They make great entertainment, and I'm pretty sure they make great Lifetime movies in the future as well. She just has to be real careful, because that Scorpio North Node is nothing to play with, because it's a path. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to keep walking down a toxic path, because you'll end up at a dead end and your ass will have your back against the wall, and you'll be, wanting to itch out for a way back to, the realities that your ass once were privy to, but you got accustomed to such a dark, dark path that now you're just a dark, dark person, and can't nobody fucking fix that or change that but you. So that's my advice for her on that. Now, this is the Crying Wolf placement. I would say, if you know anything about the story Crying Wolf, my mom told me about it when I was younger, and I appreciate her for doing that to this day. I dislike people that walk around crying wolf. I cannot stand it, because us humans have options, have choices, you know what I'm saying? If you have a brain, but from going through her chart, she does lack some practicality, so I'm not going to get on her about that. But if you have a brain, you're going to make choices, and you have mistakes, you have consequences, and you learn from those mistakes, you learn from those consequences. But some people, they like to walk around being a victim. And Megan Thee Stallion, I'm sorry to say it, but she's one of those people. Saturn in Pisces in the 11th house, with her having this placement, it really just indicates her being that type of individual. That type of individual that wants to be a victim, and that is known for being a victim. That's literally notorious for being a victim. Literally. Which is true, because she's gotten more attention from being shot. You know what I'm saying? Being the victim of abuse being projected onto her. She's gotten attention from her parents passing away, and making that an exploited thing. She's gotten attention from bad business transactions not going her way. She's gotten attention through losing her grandmother as well, but also losing her friends on the way to success. At the same time, she has all of this masculine energy, and she's projecting this character of Regina George. She's trying to be like this bully that's a bitch, and it's not working. And then she got Jupiter squaring this placement. So her Saturn in Pisces in the 11th house, she has Jupiter squaring this. So this can just determine her not being an international success, not being a Nicki Minaj, but being a national star. So having regional stardom, regional success. So coast to coast, she's well known. The people controlling her career definitely can make it seem like she's this worldwide success, but that's definitely not the case with Jupiter squaring her 11th house. And she has her ascendant sextiling this placement. She has Venus sextiling this placement, and it's trining her node. So yes, again, there's no reason to lie, Megan. Like, this is trining your node. This could be working in your favor. Literally, like, she can be a good person to get those messages out there and help other people heal. Saturn in Pisces in the 11th trining her node. This can point to her being able to turn her pain into gain, but she just needs to do it without being manipulative, without trying to cry wolf. You know what I'm saying? Because she'll be more powerful, and she'll have more of an impact, because Saturn deals with power, and Scorpio, she has a Scorpio North Node, that deals with power as well. So I don't think she'll be an international star. I think that won't happen, because, Jupiter is squaring this house, and Jupiter deals with expansion. Jupiter deals with different cultures and things like that. And then if you pay attention to her 9th house, she does have some conflicting energy going on in her 9th house. If Megan Thee Stallion didn't know who shot her, the verdict came out, and everyone knows that Tori is guilty according to the court, you know, and fuck that. When it comes to that situation, people I've talked to who are interested in this case or know about it, they have told me the same thing that I feel for myself, and I just believe the best friend had a hand in putting her hand on that still, letting that still blow, and letting this situation glow, sparkle and glow. Yeah, that was some bars, you know, figure it out, Megan. But that was all that I had dug up and surfaced for you guys to discuss today. And if you guys enjoyed anything that was talked about in this video, definitely feel free to give it a like. If you enjoyed anything discussed and want to contribute your own commentary, feel free to do that below in the comment section. And also subscribe if you're a new viewer to my channel as well. I very much so will appreciate that. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching.